we'll start off with the Davante Adams trade. What'd you make of the reveal, Mike, where he just popped up on the Pat McAfee show? That show and Aaron Rodgers' appearance on it is like it's like the anti missing the point, if you ask me. I think we're the opposite of that show in almost every way, including the being on ESPN thing. But the reveal, Davante popping out behind Aaron Rodgers on the back of Aaron Rodgers, just like blaming Mike Williams for the loss, which was the least surprising thing in the world. The Monday night game to the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, give me a little overview of the Jets and what you think Davante coming to that team means for their future, because I don't think that their wide receivers were their only issues.
No, 100%. But before we get into that, just a quick question. Do you think that was a shoot or a work? Like, do you think McAfee was actually surprised that he was right there? Like, he had no idea that Davante was right there?
It was some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot of bad movies. No, he had absolutely no fucking idea. Well, this was him. I'm like, okay, buddy. Yeah, well, that's great.
I'm a McAfee guy, so that's where we do differ. But
what's appealing to him about you?
Well, first of all, he's a big WWE guy. He's been in the WWE for a while. He's great. I just think you never would see that type of content on ESPN, even if I don't particularly enjoy all of that. I do love the fact that they've gone from like this real big buttoned up approach to kind of more of 2024. And I do like him. I do, as a human and as a color commentator, I do like him.
Yeah, I guess my problem with it is it folds sort of into the whole last 10 years of ESPN, and like sort of seeing the fall of what I consider the peak of that channel being, being able to, when we were all in college, which was at the same time, you could wake up in the morning, you could put ESPN on, and you might watch SportsCenter 3 to 4 times that day, but you could watch ESPN all day and it would be fine. Yep. You would have it was like the Disney Channel, but we were, over 15, where you could just put it on and all day there's going to be some sort of content for you. So that fall off, like the glory days of PTI and Around the Horn and those shows just being awesome and really tightly produced and like buttoned up, I enjoyed. So now when you have this sort of like meandering, sort of fill lots and lots of time with just these guys' personalities, I'm just like, do I have to listen to fucking this special teams guy tell me about the NFL? But it's fine. It's fine. I'm not super anti him, other than how hard they platform Aaron Rodgers and the stupid shit that comes out of his mouth on a regular basis, which I think we're on the same page about. But talk to me about the Davante trade. Is that going to turn around the Jets? I don't think that was their issue.
I don't think, but it definitely wasn't their only issue. Their main issue is similar to the Patriots, is that they don't have an offensive line that can protect Aaron Rodgers. And at 40 years old, he needs more time than he probably ever has. However, I don't think objectively you can look at the Jets today and say that they are not better than they were 2 days ago. Right?
Yeah. I mean, any team that gets Davante Adams for sure.
Like Garrett Wilson is now your number 2. So like, that's a pretty, as Bobby would say, like that's one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league.
It is. I mean, between Lazard, I like Mike Williams personally. I know Aaron Rodgers doesn't, but I like Mike Williams, Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and now Davante Adams. It's just that that's my overall point is that's not the issue I identified with the New York Jets.
It's coaching and their offensive line for sure, and the fact that for some reason Breece Hall forgot how to run this year. But I hate the Jets.
Now it's
Before, hold on, Bobby. You just can't jump off you like that. You have to admire the fact that they realize that they have to be all in with Aaron Rodgers because they think that this might be his last year. So they went out and they got his favorite target ever. So I think he
always gets his way wherever he goes. He always gets his fucking way. Bitch. Fucking coach fired. His friends are here. He's like a parasite. That's what I would compare him to. It's like he reminds me of termites. He just slowly takes over your organization and eats it out from the inside with his fucking kooky conspiracy theories and fucking temper tantrums. But I don't know. Same question to you, Bob. Davante, does he make the Jets the contender everybody thought they were going to be in the offseason?
Leave it to the Jets to have 2 weeks in a row where it looks like their season's done and they make a move and all of a sudden they're the talk of the town all over again. 2 weeks in a row.
It still looks like their season's done to me, though. Like that's the thing. I don't know if it's changed. Like I think we'll see some like Davante Adams ball out plays. I think that they'll win. I mean, I guess you could factor
Well, if
in
you
that
look
their
at the
division
AFC,
is
and
pretty
if
beat up
you
at the
look at the
moment.
AFC, they're really right in there. You look at a team like the Bengals at 2-4.
They're not winning that division. The Bills are winning that division,
Well, yeah, for sure. But you look at you look at the Bengals at two
right?
and four, and
So
say the Bengals are out of it. So it's like the Jets, if they could rattle off some wins here, they definitely are still in it. And if
the Bengals didn't just fire their coach, though.
that's very true.
I mean, the Bengals didn't just fire their coach. The Bengals also didn't just get Davante Adams. But I think, I mean, the Bengals are an interesting topic, and I would love to touch on that a little bit later. Just like, wow, they really did to us again. They actually started slower and are now heating up again. It really is happening. But as far as the Jets goes, I don't know. It doesn't look right over there. It looks like more sort of, to me, it looks like, and I'm just going to declare this definitively. It looks like a guy who's not as good as he used to be, which is fine, right? I mean, if you're 40, you're not supposed to be as good at football as you used to be. And like Tom Brady was an enigma, and I get that. I think it's a guy who's slowing down, and I think it's a guy who has never probably had to do this, but he's not going to have the character to like say that or own that or like try to make adjustments to uh, be more efficient, even if it's at the expense of like some of his plays. He's going to blame everybody else, and like that to me is what I'm watching happen in New York. I'm watching Aaron Rodgers say, it's kind of the LeBron thing, but he's not as talented. It's the thing of like, just make the team how I want to make it and I'll win you something. And it's like, he's not going to win you a Super Bowl, guys. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't winning a Super Bowl in New York. That's what I've learned across 6 weeks. So you can go get him Davante Adams, and that's cool. I think they're going to make some plays together in New York, but I just don't think that was what the issue was down there,
What do you think the issue was? Like, what's your
I
number
think
one
that
issue?
I as much as
Besides,
I think this is true, I also don't think he should have been fired. I think Saleh was an issue there because I think he just wasn't winning enough games and had been given like a good amount of time. It seemed like he had the defense going sometimes, but I don't know. Did he lose the whole locker room or did he just lose Aaron Rodgers? Or I don't know exactly what happened down there, word for word, but that was obviously an issue that I think an issue they should have addressed in the offseason, though. I think that they should have come into this year with a new coach. I think that was something they should have sort of seen coming if they're going to fire him after 5 weeks. And secondly, I think that O-line. I mean, you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers who I think used to be really crafty in the pocket, but I think you see that he's like not that anymore, despite still, I think, having comparable arm talent at times. He's missing different aspects of his game at his age. And I think you're right to say that they need to give him a little more time to work. I think if I was being really fair to Aaron Rodgers, there was a couple of times his receivers did actually fuck up. That doesn't make me believe that he should be throwing them under the bus in the post-game press conference. I just don't think that's how you should conduct yourself as the team leader. But yeah, I mean, Mike Williams had a bad drop. It wasn't as bad as like say Jacksonville, where like you could fire that whole wide receiver room essentially with how bad they were over the weekend in London. But they had their moments of kind of fucking up for sure. And then Rodgers threw a really bad pick. If I was really going to sum up what I think the problem is down there, it's a lot to do with what you said. They went all in on 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if he doesn't win them a Super Bowl this year, which that looks unlikely, very unlikely, what did you do to your organization? Like, what are the lasting impacts of that? Because I think they thought they were doing a Tampa Bay. That's what I think they thought they were doing. But I don't think that's what's happening down there because he's not Tom Brady, and for some reason he's been treated like he is for the past 20 years.
I think at this point they're just trying to salvage anything they can at this point. I mean, I don't. Did you really actually think that they think they can win a Super Bowl?
I know they lost a year. I'll give them credit on losing a year. That sucks. Losing a whole year with a guy that age does suck, but it's also the risk you take when you lose that year. So yeah, sorry, go on.
I mean, it's just it's tough to actually think that they think they can actually beat the Chiefs with this team. That's what it comes down to. It's like there's no way that they can actually beat the Chiefs with this team. Davante Adams or not. I think at this point they're just trying to salvage what they can from this season and get anything they can.
I don't think they could beat the Ravens or the Texans either in a playoff type scenario. So, but again, I mean, they're 2-4, and they're bringing in Davante Adams, and that's fine. But are we talking about them even as a playoff team at this point? We'll see. I mean, people were freaking high on them. I'm just saying.
We better hope so for our prediction show, DK, that they make the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll eat that one. We'll still win. Don't worry about it.